An ending to a relationship with a narcissist is an ending like no other relationship because it comes with devastation and trauma. The devastation is even more compounded by the fact that a narcissist can quickly and effortlessly move on and replace you with somebody else. In this video, I'm going to talk about why a narcissist is able to replace you so quickly, and why you should not buy into the lie that your replacement in the narcissist's life has what it takes to make the narcissist happy, and why you should not buy into the other lie that the narcissist is going to change for the new person. And I'm also going to share with you some ways on how you can move past the pain of all of it into the bright future that God has for you. So stick with me to the end of the video, because everything I share will bring you some insights and hopefully usher you into deeper healing. Now, before I get into it, for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Shaneen Megji. I'm a transition coach. Welcome to my channel called Toxicity is Not Your Destiny, where I put out weekly videos on how to navigate toxic relationships in your life from a biblical, practical, and spiritual perspective. So if you like this video and you would like to receive more content from me on a regular basis, click on that subscribe button and click on the bell so you could be the first to know every time I upload a video. So without further ado, let's dive into the subject. So the first question is, why is a narcissist able to replace you so quickly? They're able to do it because they never formed a bond with you. Their attachment to you is either shallow or non-existent, so it's very easy for them to simply uproot their feelings for you and replant them for somebody else. And you might wonder, well, how can that be? Since they made me feel so special, I had a long-term relationship with them, how could they just ditch me like I have no value? It's because they learned how to perform loving actions and say loving things to get their needs met without their hearts being engaged. So they go after relationships the same way a drug addict goes after their drug to get a fix. That drug is called narcissistic supply in the world of psychology, which is the attention, affirmation, accolades, honor, and the sense of significance they need to be propped up and to regulate their emotions. So relationships have to be all about them, and when that stops, then they have no more interest in you, no matter how much you invested already. And if you would like to do a deeper dive of understanding on this issue, I did do a video on how can a narcissist move on so quickly after a discard. So check it out if you want to go deeper in this. The second thing that is very important for your healing is staying grounded in the truth and not buying into the insidious lies that are coming into your heart. Jesus said that you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. Knowing the truth and holding on to it is the key to your freedom, and it may mean reminding yourself of it every day or every hour, or writing it down, writing pep talks for yourself every time you are faced with compelling lies. So here are some truths that you must hold on to when you are tempted to feel like a failure, or to be jealous of the narcissist's replacement, or to think that the narcissist is going to change for someone else, but they weren't going to do it for you. These are all lies to keep you in mental torment. So how do you deal with that cutting pain when they replace you with somebody else? It's important to understand that a narcissist is very different, a very different human being when they are replacing you with somebody else. And it's not because they have stopped loving you and started loving somebody else. It was never that way. They didn't have love for you, to care about your feelings, to empathize with you, to truly and deeply carry your heart. They didn't have that. They did not have the capacity for it. And therefore, the next person they're going to is not motivated out of love. The narcissist is motivated out of an addiction. You are not replaced because somebody is better than you or somebody was more worthy to be loved than you. You are so worthy to be loved and cherished and nurtured. And whoever they went for is someone that they also don't love. But they are seeking to source narcissistic supply from them and maybe take their money or their time or their attention, whatever feeds their need, because they're entering relationships from a place of having to fill a hole in themselves, in their life, as opposed to giving anybody out of the outflow of any love that's inside of them. They just don't have it. And therefore, anybody that's around such a person is doomed to be sucked dry and hurt and not fulfilled and not loved. You're dealing with someone who's also in the queue to be a victim of narcissistic abuse like you have been. And so even if it looks like there's happiness and laughter going on, that is simply part of the abuse. You have to understand that it's not because a narcissist stopped loving you to go love somebody else. It's because they have inserted somebody else into their cycle of abuse because either you were getting too costly or you've woken up and you're not putting up with that anymore. You got off the roller coaster. So now the narcissist has found a new person to sit in the seat beside them, and it's a nauseating ride. So I just want to encourage you that the best thing that could have ever happened to you was that you got off that ride, as much as it was painful to do that. You may go through the grief, but just know the grief is going to end. It will certainly come to an end. The next truth to hold on to: understand that there's no person on earth that can sustain the demands of a narcissist and their expectations. Narcissists have unreasonable expectations and an over-the-top sense of entitlement. Honestly, it would take an absolute perfect human being to satisfy a narcissist, and such a person doesn't exist. And even if they did, they could never satisfy a narcissist because just their mere perfection would trigger the envy of a narcissist, and the narcissist would probably tear them to pieces like anybody else. So no matter how loving, how talented, how gifted, how perfect another person is, they will never win. Just know it will not be long before the narcissist will feel annoyances and disappointments in the replacement after the love bombing, and their unreasonable expectations and pathological sense of entitlement will surface and overtake them. Another truth to consider: the way a narcissist goes about ending the relationship and replacing you is an insidious form of gaslighting in two ways. First, they create an illusion that you are worthless and replaceable because they were able to easily move on from you and replace you with somebody else. But understand that your narcissist's actions are not a reflection of your worth or lack of worth. The narcissist has no right nor power to dictate your worth. Only God can do it because He created you and He knows the gold inside of you. Your narcissist's actions are actually a reflection of the sickness and darkness inside their own hearts. But they would have you believe that you are the one to blame, and so they gaslight you by their actions, by creating this image of having this incredible connection with somebody else, love bombing that person by giving them the things you wanted in the relationship but never got. And this is really to manipulate you to buy into their story that change could have been possible with them if you would have just measured up, if you would have just become what they wanted you to be. So by their action of manipulating and deceiving someone else through love bombing, they're also trying to punish you and drive a knife through you with this message. This is what they would be saying in their hearts. See, many people would love to be in your shoes because look how I easily found someone else. So obviously it was not me who was being unreasonable. It was not me who was the problem. All this is your fault. You are to blame. And that is how a narcissist thinks, and that is what they are communicating to you when they go out and when they replace you. But just remember, this is a lie. A narcissist has to manipulate and deceive to get someone attracted to them. So any new person who is with them is not seeing the narcissist for who he or she is, but only for the false image that they are portraying. It might be tempting to believe a lie that the narcissist is changing for the next person because the narcissist is doing the things you were hoping and praying for in your relationship. So you wonder if maybe you are the cause of the narcissist not changing their ways for you. But don't fall for that lie. They haven't changed. You've only enlightened them on how to manipulate someone more effectively because you made your wants and needs known throughout the relationship. So now, with that knowledge, the narcissist can more effectively love bomb your replacement while also driving a knife more deeply into your heart. When it comes to a person changing, just know that there were instant miracles in the Bible. Saul was a religious zealot as well as a cruel, abusive murderer. In the book of Acts, God encountered him and transformed him from Saul to Paul. Maybe you know that story. But just know that even though that happened, Paul still had to spend many, many years in the desert after that encounter for God to completely rewire his thinking and his understanding of God's ways. So even if God does a miracle, change still takes time. You still have to unlearn bad habits and undo wrongful thinking and attitudes, and that happens one thought at a time. It doesn't happen overnight. So the speed at which a narcissist moves into a new relationship and love bombs someone else is a sure sign that he or she has not changed. There's also another story in the Bible about King Nebuchadnezzar, who needed 7 years finally to just be able to acknowledge God. 7 years just to acknowledge God. And there is no evidence still that he had a transformed heart, except that he was finally able to praise God after being reduced to a mad person in the wilderness from being a king for 7 years. So just imagine the level of humbling a narcissist has to go through, the massive, massive low point they have to hit to have some fraction of a change. So you may have been praying for a change for the narcissist in your life and hoping, but it's very difficult for a narcissist to change, even with God's intervention, just from the few examples we see in the Bible. And so don't be quick to believe your narcissist has changed for the next person right after they ditch the relationship with you. This is more of a confirmation of how much they are running away from themselves and mastering their art of deception and manipulation. It is a sign of how deeply steeped the narcissist is in his or her narcissism. So now I want to talk about some ways that you can move past the pain. Number 1, remember the narcissist does not dictate your value. It is God. God sent Jesus Christ to die for your soul and give you abundant life. And the narcissist is a tool in the hands of the enemy to steal, kill, and destroy. So reclaim your inherent value in God because you are worth so much to him. Number 2, you are better off without the narcissist. Sure, there will be a season of grief, and that is to be expected, but it will end, and it will lead to peace and joy and creativity like you've never had. Just think, the narcissist was like a harvest of weeds in the soil of your heart, taking so much resource and nutrients out of you, and now you can claim that ground in yourself. Now you can grow, expand, enlarge the stakes of your tent, discover, create, without any more oppression. Number 3, understand that love bombing is not love, it is abuse. When you see a narcissist love bombing someone else on social media or wherever, or you hear about what is going on, or there's a new relationship, just understand that this is not a love dynamic. This is the beginning of the abuse cycle, and the replacement is simply in phase 1 of it. What you see may remind you of a side of the narcissist that you loved and wished you could be connected to, because all you got for most of the relationship was criticism, shaming, humiliation, berating, manipulation, nonstop verbal beatings. There was no love for you. You were on a love famine with the narcissist, and now you're seeing them shower someone else with a kind of love you could only dream of. Just know, this is not love. This is abuse. It is abuse because it is a tactic to bait someone else's heart to get attached very hard and quickly, and then to trap them into emotional bondage. And once the person is attached, then the devaluing starts. And this is the precursor of trauma bonding somebody else. Just remember this. Number 4, remember, staying is way too costly to you. It requires a suicide of your soul for the narcissist to invade, and that was never God's intention for you. He has a plan and a purpose for your life that he knew from the beginning of the foundation of the world. And your soul was never meant to be infilled by a narcissist, but it was meant to be infilled by Jesus Christ, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. Number 5, move on with your life. Heal, get close to God, let him bring new, healthy relationships in your life. There is a level of healing that happens with God, but there is another dimension of healing that comes through relationships with other people. So in time, God will bring those right people into your life. So I just want to encourage you with a story in the Bible about a man who feared God named Job. You probably know this story. This is about a man who lost everything. I mean, the devil came and took his family, took his children, took his health. And that is a picture of what many people go through with narcissistic abuse and the abuse of a narcissist, and how they are treated and discarded. In the end, they are left with the shipwrecked life, with no more family, their health is in jeopardy, their finances are in jeopardy, and they're so broken. But this is not God's heart for you. It is not the abundant life He has for you. But the beautiful thing is that God restored Job double of everything he lost because he feared God. He trusted God. And so I just want you to be encouraged that God is a God of restoration, and He restores. You may feel like you've lived your whole life and lost everything, but just know that God can restore overnight what could have taken years to build. I just want to encourage you that the best way to deal with the pain is to draw close to God, because God is a God of all comfort. He calls Himself the God of all comfort. And sometimes, you may try to dull the pain with all kinds of other things around you, but then there's nothing that can really fill that empty hole. You might even feel tempted to replace the narcissist just as quickly as he or she replaced you, but don't fall into that trap. Draw near to God and let His arms just hold you continuously all day, every day. Lean into that comfort that only God can give you. And I just want you to know that even despite the darkness you've seen inside another human being and the darkness you've lived, God has destined for your days ahead to be brighter, to be so bright that they go from brightness to brightness like the noonday sun. That is what God has for you, and that is what He wants for you. And so I just want to encourage you to lean into that, to put your faith and trust in the Lord and let Him order your steps, and He will lead you into His bright future for you. So I hope this video was helpful in giving you hope to move forward with your life and to ease the pain and trauma of the ending of your relationship with a narcissist. If you know someone who is in a relationship with a narcissist or who has broken up with one, share this video with them so that they can get all the insights that I shared. If you are thinking of leaving or have left a toxic environment and you're in a season of transition, check out a free training I have put together. It is all about 3 key ways to navigate a transition. These are things that brought a massive breakthrough in my life when I was going through a difficult transition. I have included the link below. If you would like to see more content from me and have not subscribed yet, click that subscribe button and click the bell so that you can get the alerts, because every single week I will be posting a new video to empower you in navigating toxic relationships in your life. And if you like the video, please give it a like. This helps me to know what kind of content to produce. And this brings me to the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.